I am Johnny Massacre, and welcome to the Johnny Massacre Show. This is the Sunday Night Massacre. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about how YouTube are banning free speech in 2021. Also, the C-word globalist takeover. And then onto video games with Cyberpunk and Fall Guys. And finally, some Japanese shit. Who is fucking with me? You have to excuse me. I'm looking well tired. I slept for 2 hours because I was making the Johnny Massacre Show last night after I went for a 2-hour run. And then I hit the gym and absolutely destroyed myself. So forgive me if my face is looking like a sack of porridge. But I got to bring you the entertainment on your Sunday, do I not? So first up, we're going to take a look at how YouTube will be censoring people, maybe including yourself, approaching 2021. So people have told me recently they think my account is being suppressed or shadow banned or something to that effect. So what exactly happened? Well, YouTube sent me an email explaining how one of my videos had been restricted. Let's have a look at the email that YouTube sent me. It says, "Hi Johnny Massacre, we wanted to let you know that our team has reviewed your content and we don't think that it's in line with our community guidelines. As a result, we've age restricted the following content. The video in question is Trump pushes to overturn election, Johnny Massacre Show 146. And there's a few other videos that got restricted, including something to do with the Georgia recount and so on. YouTube says, we haven't applied a strike to your channel and your content is still live for some users on YouTube. Keep reading for more details on what this means and steps that you can take if you'd like to appeal this decision. Importantly, they say what age restricted means. They say we age restrict content when we don't think that it's suitable for younger audiences. This means that it will not be visible to users who are logged out, are under 18 years of age, or who have restricted mode enabled. It also won't be eligible for ads. Learn more about age restrictions." So I'd just like to say that one of the videos that got age restricted by YouTube had no swearing in at all. And I must admit, that was one of the greatest challenges of my life, not to turn the air blue with horrific British swear words. But I managed to do it, and the video still got age restricted. So what is this saying? And what does this mean for censorship on YouTube coming into 2021? Well, YouTube are saying that when they age restrict a video, the only people who can't see it are 1, users who are logged out, 2, users under 18 years of age, or 3, users who have restricted mode enabled. We can assume that users under 18 years of age and restricted mode are kind of one and the same thing, because anyone who can't log in because they're under 18 and can't make their own password are probably going to be being monitored by their parents anyways. So there's only 2 things or 2 categories of people who won't be able to see your videos if they get flagged as age restricted. 1, people who are logged out, and 2, people under 18 years of age. So this is a lie by YouTube. How do I know this is a lie? How do I know that they're restricting the videos not only to people under the age of 18 and not only to people who are not logged in, but to loads of other people on YouTube? Well, cast your eyes over to my screen. Now, this is a community post that I made, which is like a Twitter post where you do a tweet, you write a comment, and you can link a video. So I linked my latest video, which had been age restricted by YouTube. Take a look at my screen. This is the video in question, talking about hard evidence of voter fraud. This video is age restricted. You can see the comment up here. This had 3 thumbs up. That means only probably about, even if 10 people had seen this video and a third of them had thumbed it up, that's still only 10 people able to see the video. Now, I made exactly the same comment without the age restricted video, and look how many thumbs up that comment got. 431. Same comment without the age restricted video, but 431 thumbs up in comparison to 3 thumbs up for the same comment with the age restricted video. So that means that when I linked the age restricted video, only 3 people thumbed it up as opposed to 431. So that means 428 people were either under the age of 18 or were not logged in. And I'm sorry, but that's just impossible. Even being really strict and saying 50% of the people who looked at my YouTube were not logged in, that would mean 215 people would have thumbed it up as opposed to 431 when it wasn't age restricted. But the fact that only 3 people thumbed it up means nobody saw it, and there's absolutely no way that 99% of people either weren't logged in or under the age of 18. So what this means is, if your video gets age restricted, basically no one's going to see it, not just if they're not logged in, not just if they're under the age of 18, but just if you're anyone in general. YouTube will memory hold the video. So this is how YouTube will restrict and censor people going into 2021. Quite simply, any videos they don't like, they'll give an age restriction, and that won't just not recommend it to the people that they say, which are people who are not logged in and people under the age of 18. It will not recommend it to pretty much anyone and leave people thinking, well, I guess nobody's logged in. Because I'm sorry, there's no way that 99% of people who view my channel are not logged in. It's got to be much less than that. And so that is how YouTube are going to be shadow banning people coming into 2021. And to prove this, let's have a little look at the video performance on my channel of different videos and the amount of views they're getting in regards to age restriction. So come on over to my channel. You can see here my video, server seized in Germany, Trump's lawyer. That has 234,000 views. Next video, 3,200. Next one, 45,000. Next one, 17,750. So we've got 234,000, 45,000, 17,000. Then the first age restricted video, just shy of 3,000. Next video, 2,400. Next age restricted video, and you know because it says 18 plus only here, and it says this video is age restricted, 2,141. Now, it looks like perhaps all of these videos are actually shadow banned, even though a few of them say they're age restricted, because on the age restricted one, we've gone down from large numbers to just 2,100, and then one that's not age restricted has a similar amount, 2,400. So if one is age restricted and has 2,100, and one isn't age restricted and still has the same amount of views, that probably means that they're all age restricted, aka censored or shadow banned, and YouTube just isn't telling you, leaving you like an idiot floundering around in the darkness trying to work out why people aren't viewing your videos. Next video, 2,100. Next video, 2,200. And this just doesn't make sense. So the recent video I did with 2,200 views says Trump rallies the troops in DC. It has a bit of razzmatazz about it. It's talking about how Trump is getting shit together and there's crowds of people. Only 2,000. A pretty similar title called Trump rolls up to Supreme Court. Again, about Trump rallying the people and trying to fight back. That had 17,000 views. 17,000 in comparison to 2,000, with kind of similar vibe in the thumbnail, similar-ish title, similar-ish vibe, and basically less than 10% of the views. Now, when I made that video with 17,000, Trump rolls up to Supreme Court, the next video had the ban, and since then, all my videos have had low views. So even though not all videos have had this age restriction, since the first age restriction, they all seem to have been restricted. Now, call me paranoid, but those numbers are definitely fishy. And the way that I know that is through the evidence that I just showed you, which is I put an age-restricted video in a community post link and it had 3 thumbs up. And then I did exactly the same post without the age-restricted video, but with the same comment, and it had 300 plus thumbs up. That means 99% of people from those 300 plus thumbs up didn't see it the first time around, and that's suggesting that 99% of people were either under the age of 18 or weren't logged in, which is just impossible. You cannot tell me that 99% of people who use YouTube are not logged in. So YouTube is basically not telling you that they're banning your videos outright because they don't like them, and they're trying to palm it off as, oh, people aren't logged in or they're under the age of 18, that's why they can't see it. So that is how YouTube will sneakily ban your videos coming into 2021. So next up today, we're going to talk about the C word, globalist takeover. So my mate, who shall remain nameless, and I mention him on this show all the time, if you've been watching for a while, I kind of joke that he ghost writes the show because we have back and forth conversations on a private messaging service and we talk about politics and shit. And my mate is really smart, but I don't want to reveal who he is because I like to take the flack because that's just who I am. But some people don't want to talk about this shit in public. And so my mate, we're trying to work out what his name should be. And one of the viewers, I'm sorry, I forget your name, suggested that my mate's name should be Pantheon. My mate told me a little bit about the meaning of Pantheon. So he said, Pantheon said, the Pantheon, he's very smart, is a Roman temple in France, has a nice ring to it. Does sound like something official and intelligent. But anyway, I wouldn't consider myself a source for anything. I'm just relaying information and offering my opinion based on the stuff I read and hear, just like everyone else. And that is why I'm going to bring this mystery guest on the show and include our political conversations, because he's very smart, he's very honest, there's no narcissism at all. And like me, he's just searching for the truth. So, my friends, why am I telling this? Because it brings us and segues neatly onto the next part of the show, which is the C word. So, the C word news, what is going on? Pantheon brought me some news on the C word. First of all, I sent him a link, and I'm going to read you this link now. Over on BBC News, it says, COVID, relaxing restrictions could trigger third wave, NHS bosses warn. Now, I didn't even need to read this article. I shared it with my mate because it's just ridiculous. And I said to him, well, what about when the fourth wave comes and the fifth wave and the sixth wave? This is never going to end. If you think things are going back to normal, I think you are mistaken. Even with the vaccine, that's coming out, that's being rolled out, right? People are always still paranoid about the third wave, the fourth wave. I just think this is never going to end. And Pantheon is going to explain why. So then Pantheon, the mysterious Pantheon, exchanged a C-word article with me. Let's have a look at what he shared. It's also on BBC News. Fucking hell. The bearer of bad news in general. They say, coronavirus... Oh, God, I said the fucking C word out loud. Germany to go into lockdown over Christmas. The article says Germany is to go into a hard lockdown over the Christmas period as the number of deaths and infections from the coronavirus reaches record levels. Non-essential shops will close across the country from Wednesday, as will schools, with children to be cared for at home wherever possible. Even though infection rates among children are really fucking small, let's just lock them in their houses. Chancellor Angela Merkel blamed Christmas shopping for a considerable rise in social contacts. Yeah, all you selfish fuckers wanting to engage in pretty much the one thing this year that can all bring us together. Because what is a bit of humanity and soul? We're all fucking robots, and we should just be banned to the confines of our houses. The latest figures showed 20,200 more infections and a further 321 deaths. The new lockdown will run from 16th of December to 10th of January, announcing the move after meeting leaders of the country's 16 states. Mrs. Merkel said there was an urgent need to take action. But I bet you this bitch will be getting her turkey stuffed all over Christmas, while you sit at home, starving and not being able to do anything. Perhaps wanting to spend time with the family and get into the spirit is worth the risk of catching a disease with a 99+% survival rate. So let me give you my comments from my mate Pantheon regarding the C word and the current climate of the C word, because I just love the way Pantheon thinks. So he said, it just never ends. And yet, look at this readily available info. And then Pantheon shares this little graph with us. Take a look at my screen, if you will. It is headed, Outcome of Cases, Recovery of Death in Germany. Cumulative total deaths and recoveries over cumulative number of closed cases. So basically, the orange line is the death rate, and the green line is the recovery rate. So if we go back to February the 15th, when the commie Chinese virus, the sweet and sour sniffles, as my man Jericho Green likes to call it, you see a big spike in death rate when people weren't prepared for the C word. And then, of course, at exactly the same time, the recovery rate went down because loads of people were dying. And then the line has been pretty flat. And actually, the recovery rate has increased. Whereas it looks like the death rate is going down. So despite the recovery rate increasing and the death rate going down, and basically nothing much having changed at all in the last 6, 7, 8 months, well, Germany have decided to lock down in panic and potentially fuck up Christmas. And Pantheon says, deaths down and recoveries up ever since a very brief peak in the spring. Yet, the country is going on a nationwide lockdown again over new cases. Mate, I'm increasingly convinced that the conspiracy theories are correct. We are witnessing a global communist takeover. They are going to continue lockdown until most small and medium businesses are destroyed and most people are financially devastated. Once everyone is broke, it will be easy to get everyone clamoring for more government handouts, and then we will be entirely dependent on the state. Pantheon, you do terrify me sometimes with your intellect, but look, if you do want to entertain conspiracy theories, this is a pretty fucking good one, because one of the central tenets of leftism is welfare. And this is why I despise leftism, because they require you to be fucked up in order to exist. You're going to vote for them in order for a handout. And I don't want to need anyone for my own survival. I like to take my own survival into my own hands and do things off my own back. But the leftists, they want you to be crippled and fucked up so they can offer you relief in the form of your vote. So, I mean, if you want to entertain conspiracy theories, this is pretty much right for one. What do you think about it? Leave your comment, as always, in the box below, because I love reading them, and I'm very interested to see what you think about all this. And I know you've got opinions on it. Okay, so moving on. Well, video games. So things are going to get a little bit more fun now. Now, I was chatting to my Japanese mate today, and she showed me this game that I've never seen before. And I took one look at it, and I thought, this looks pretty fucking interesting. And it's been around for a while. I've slept on this. It's a PS4 game. And she loves watching Twitch. She doesn't play video games, but she watches live streaming of Twitch video games for 1 or 2 hours every night. And she said she's been watching this. Look at this. Fall Guys. For some reason, I have this weird obsession with hot pink and this kind of blue, or hot pink and green. I just think it's a really wicked color combination. And because pink is the most girly thing ever and blue is a real boyish thing. So it's just a marriage of two kind of opposite things that actually kind of weirdly complement each other. And I just love the color scheme. So I looked at this and I thought this was quite interesting. And I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm just really intrigued by it. Apparently it's big on Twitch and random people in Japan are really into this. So I thought, I'm going to react to this. I'm going to watch this game for the first time called Fall Guys. Most of the videos are from around 4 months ago, so the game is pretty new. If you haven't seen this before, let's enjoy it together and let's see what this is all about. Here we go, Fall Guys gameplay. Let's do it. Let's give it a chance. So there's a lot of people playing at the same time, which is quite interesting. Loads of them. So this is basically a Battle Royale style game.
In the middle, probably the worst place to start.
Oh, wow.
No! I do not want to fight this.
And I think there can only be one winner. That's what makes this so compelling. All of these fuckers that you're watching right now, only one of these poor cunts is going to survive.
She said, no.
So this is kind of reminiscent of that TV game show Gladiator. Do you Yankees still do that? Because my dad took me to that when I was younger. I used to love that. We had this guy. He's this huge ripped guy called Shadow. He was basically a cokehead. He got outed as a cokehead, but he used to stand on top of that podium and he'd try to hit you off with that big Q-tip.
We're good.
It's a bit like that, this game. Okay, so there can only be one, really. So it's whoever was across the finish line.
I'm so happy. You can see everyone's names.
Let's flick it on a bit. Let's see what this one's all about.
5 for the next round. Come on.
So we're watching loads of weird anthropomorphic cutesy characters in some luscious kind of neon land that's some weird hybrid of the American show Gladiators and Hunter S. Thompson's daily routine. Okay, so there you go. That's Fall Guys. And that kind of brings me on to some other stuff I wanted to talk about, which is very, very random, which is the term royale. So I like words because I'm a rapper and I like writing lyrics. And my lyrics are pretty fucking good, if I may say so myself. And so I just like to look at the etymology of words, which is basically the origin of words and how they came about. And royale is kind of fucking interesting. Today, speaking to my Japanese mate about Battle Royale, I said, yeah, Battle Royale is the kind of game where loads of people are playing and only one's going to be left standing. And I was explaining to her, royale is the French word for royal. And royal basically means the king and queen, or people underneath them who are inside that royal circle. And here's the weird thing I wanted to tell you, right, about the words or the phrase Battle Royale. Do you know what they say in Japan for Battle Royale? It should be Battle Royale. But, and it's so hard to pronounce this, the Japanese pronounce Battle Royale, Battle Rowairu. It's the most awkward thing you could possibly say. Try it yourself. Battle Rowairu. So, I was chatting to my mate about this, and we went off on some mad digression, which I'm going to go down again in a minute. But to give you closure on this weird Japanese bastardization of a Western word, I was speaking to my other mate about Battle Royale, and we started talking about the movie Battle Royale. It's this really famous cult film that I believe came from an anime, or a comic, a manga comic in Japan. You must have heard of this film. It's like loads of kids are chucked, I think it's school kids or just people at the least, are chucked onto an island at random points, and only one's going to survive. It's this sick kind of game show. And I don't really remember that much about it, but I remember it being good because the concept is so excellent. You might scoff at that. You might laugh at that. Hey, just an idea, chucking someone on an island, they all have to kill each other. That's not a good idea, Johnny Massacre. But I beg to differ. If you have to come up with a concept for a novel or video game or some kind of narrative or a movie narrative or just any kind of solid narrative, it's incredibly difficult. It's got to be beautifully simple, but really inviting and interesting. And the whole idea of just everyone's chucked onto an island, there's only going to be one survivor, bang, already your mind is getting into work, filling out all the blanks and possibilities of that great kind of sandbox style idea. And that movie has a cult following. And it turns out, my mate reckons, the reason why in Japan, Japanese people use the term Battle Royale, it's nearly impossible to say, is literally because the first time my mate said he ever heard that term was when the movie Battle Royale came out in Japan. And even to this very day, Japanese products have loads of typos all over them. The advertising is famously hilarious. They say ridiculous shit on their products with loads of typos. And without digressing too much, I find that really fascinating about Japanese people, how they can't even be asked to call up a foreigner for 30 seconds and go, mate, is this right? No, yes. And then release the product. Even if it's a major brand, a major global brand, they can't be fucked because they have such belief in their nationalist principles. So it's kind of amusing. Anyways, so that bastardization of English carries on today, to this very day. I could go over the road to my 7-Eleven and find loads of products with weird bastardized English. But back in the day when this movie came out, Battle Royale, probably early 90s, around then, people were even more haphazard about the English they used. They didn't give a fuck. There was no foreigners in Japan back then, not many. They didn't give a shit about translation. So when the movie came out, my mate reckons the person who was in charge of naming the movie looked at the French word royale and then looked at the English word royal and just got confused as fuck. English is confusing enough for Japanese. Royale, the French version of the English word royal, I mean, or actually, the origin of the word might be Greek. I think it's Latin. It's from the word rex, which means king. And anyways, all of these things are confusing enough to Japanese people, or English is confusing enough. And adding the French into the mix is just confusion overload. They're going to end up like Joe Biden trying to read his teleprompter. And so the guy, probably he was fucked on mushrooms, because at this time, mushrooms were legal in Japan. They really were. Over-the-counter shit. He just looked at it and he goes, "Kore ga Battle Royale desu." And so just because of this random cult movie, now everyone mispronounces the word or phrase Battle Royale in Japan. I just wanted to share that with you today because I thought it was interesting. And I realized today what Battle Royale means. I never even thought about it. I just thought it sounded fancy. For starters, I think it's cool the way they use Royale instead of Royal, because Royale sounds so much fancier, right? It's really interesting. Royal, Battle Royal, or Royal Battle is a bit on the nose, but Royale to an English speaker sounds a little bit exotic and sophisticated, and it's kind of buttery smooth. The way that word kind of propels itself, Royale, it's just so fucking smooth. So I like the way they use that term. But why they use it, I never thought about it. I just thought it was purely for those aesthetic reasons I just mentioned. But it clearly makes sense, right? Royal is top of the tree. It's like the fucking king. So that's why it's Battle Royal, because you're all going to kill each other and only one is left standing. It's like the commie revolution that the YouTube really wants by banning my videos and only promoting leftist shit and BLM propaganda. So that's why they call it Battle Royale, I guess. Am I right? Because you're killing everyone and the last person standing is the king. Surely that's what it means. So I found that quite interesting. And then I was thinking about Other kind of expressions that use royale. Of course, there's Pulp Fiction, one of the best films of all time, definitely in my top 10. Do you remember that famous scene with Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta in the car in the beginning? They're talking about the Royale with cheese. And there's something very elegant about that wording. And for some reason, people are drawn to that. It's just the way it rolls off the tongue, it feels good. Certain words make you feel good and you like to say them and they're memorable. And that's why Battle Royale has stuck as a term for these kind of things. Other expressions that use royal or royale, Royal Rumble. See, I love that. My American friends, I can just totally see the psychology here. You thought, okay, Royale, Battle Royale. How do we make it like a little bit more kind of American and a bit more manly? Oh, Royal Rumble, fuck yeah! So I love the way the Americans kind of took the Royale and they just made it a bit more punchy. Royal Rumble. I love that for the wrestling match where it's same shit, right? They all go into the ring and they have to throw each other out and it's the last one left standing. So Royale, in most contexts regarding competition, means you become the king. So I didn't realize that. Am I the only one who didn't realize that? I wanted to share that with you. Some very random thoughts from my brain, but I hope you enjoyed that little digression. So, and one more thing I want to say, I think the equivalent of royale or royal in Japanese is ichiban. Ichiban means number one. So they have a beer you might have heard of called Kirin Ichiban, which means Kirin number one. And that's no different from a chicken royale. Chicken, kind of regal or number one, right, king, or Kirin Ichiban, beer, Kirin number one. And isn't it interesting, the difference in pacing and rhythm of those two different words? So you've got Kirin Ichiban, dun 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 dun. It's very staccato and has this kind of serious feel about it, serious texture. But then you've got the royale, right? You've got the chicken royale, which is just so smooth. And almost, you can imagine, the word royale gets blended up in the imagery of the kind of sauce and the mustard and stuff, right? But the Ichiban, I don't know, conjures more images of the hard, like bottle glass exterior. So I'm just obsessed with words. You can see how much I adore them. So make sure you listen to my music on my channel because I love wordplay. So I wanted to share that with you. So I did say I was going to share something else with you, and I'm sure I've got it up here. So it's Cyberpunk. So you've probably all heard about this video game that's come out. It is getting rave reviews. It seems to be, if I had to describe it in layman's terms, a Blade Runner themed version of Grand Theft Auto. And I haven't got it yet because I've only got PS4 and Xbox One, and apparently it doesn't run that well on them. And I'm not a member of the PC Master Race. Is it out on Mac? I don't know. Anyways, I'm waiting to get my PS5 and Xbox Series X before I get this game. Apparently it's shit hot. It's just like Blade Runner, but an RPG. Blade Runner, you can see the title, the movie title there. It's my favorite movie ever. Got Blade Runner paraphernalia all around my man cave, my nerdy studio. And I wanted to read you a little bit about something in this Cyberpunk game that really piqued my interest, and I found it to be quite funny. So let's read this from an article on Windows Central, PC Master Race. So we've got some screenshots and shit. So the game looks quite, well, very futuristic. Lots of combat, weaponry, artillery and stuff like that. I'm sure Americans love this. I love the look of it too. There's lots of influences from Japanese anime. That Spike is probably influenced from the classic movie Akira. So look at this. Let me read you this little excerpt of something you can look forward to if you play the Cyberpunk game. And for anyone out there who doesn't play games, you've got to know what the kids are doing. So let me read it for you. The article says, along with picking your stats, you'll have a wide variety of ways to visually customize your character. You'll be able to choose your skin color, hairstyle, eyes, mouth, jawline, ears, scars, tattoos, piercings, teeth, eye and lip makeup, blemishes, nipples, body tattoos. You can also have up to 8 pieces of cyberware. Perhaps the most talked about customization is genitals. Sliders can be used to adjust the size of these breasts, buttocks and penis. And there are also different options for penis types, vagina appearance and pubic hair. Regardless of what genitalia you choose, you can decide to have a male or female voice regardless of your genitals, which will determine the gender that NPCs refer to V as. However, the actual genitals will determine which characters will be interested in romancing V. So, okay, if you have what that means is, this is really hard to kind of break down. This is quite meta. If you have a female voice, then other people will refer to you as female. So even if you're a massive hulking dude, but you speak like this, darling. Everyone's going to call you babe, basically. But strangely, even if you look like a massive man, but you speak like a woman, although people refer to you as a woman, the only people interested in fucking you will be of the opposite sex. So you can speak like a woman, look like a man, be called a woman, but only women will fuck you. So this is a fucking confusing thing, and I've kind of lost my train of thought, even trying to digest that. But I guess what that means is, let's try to work through this. That means if you're a man who speaks like a woman, that probably means you want to fuck men, right? Because you're basically transgender. You're a man identifying as a woman, and you probably want to fuck men. But only women will fuck you because you've got a dick. So this is a transgender nightmare. And this is basically an indictment of the transgender argument, which is liberal deconstructionism. Don't fall for it. All it is quack, quack, quack. A load of meaningless words that you might hear in a George Orwell novel designed to confuse you, because when black is white and white is black and men and women are men, anything in between can be argued to be true. And on that note, my friends, you have been watching The Johnny Massacre Show. I have been Johnny Massacre. And I tell you what, mate, you better be back for the next episode. Otherwise, I'll be coming round your house. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because that is what all those other cunts tell you to do. Laters.